Okay, you might as well mic up and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Everything's lit. I think we're ready. Hey, let me ask, I've been dying to ask you this. Like before all of this, were you normal like the rest of us?
What do you mean normal?
You know what I mean? Normal,
Yeah,
like you,
yeah.
like you ate like
I think
Burger King.
I think I was way worse actually.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Okay, let's have a little competition. I am 35. It's 11:30 at night. Yeah, Burger King seems like a pretty decent idea.
A bowl of cereal might go down well with with a nice double dose of the milk, so that when you finish the first bowl, you actually fill it up with the second bowl.
Oh my
you
God,
have to
that
finish
is so
the milk.
good.
You know.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite fried food?
French fries.
Yeah,
French fries. Still to this day is one of my favorite fried foods.
You still have it on occasion?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you got to live. Okay, what
no,
was...
I live. There's nothing wrong with the way I live. I found an awesome balance.
Let's talk a little bit about, for 1 second before we get started here today,
Okay.
about how many Krispy Kremes could you eat before it was too many for you?
Well, didn't I tell the story already? You heard the story?
Oh,
Haven't I
yeah.
told you? Where I munched those 8. Yeah. I remember.
8 Krispy Kremes?
Yeah, on the way home, I called my wife and I said, I've got a dozen Krispy Kremes. I'll be home in 20 minutes. 4 left by the time I got home.
You're a good man.
Well, this was, This is why I want to tell my story. This is why it's so important to connect with my brothers and sisters out there, because, and so honored to have this space. So, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll
So
do
that's
the
all-
show.
yeah.
Okay, let me just ask you one more thing. Do you mind if I record this? Tee-hee.
Oh my God. So I told you from the get-go it was going to be candid, and Mike caught me there, trying to catch me off guard, but at the same time, there is no catching off guard because everything that happens leads to the next conversation. And so when we decided to move forward, I decided to jump into this podcast, being the history of how did I eat myself sick and unhealthy. We already know the story of how I blended myself healthy, and then I think what a lot of people ask all the time, or the question that arises is how do you find the balance? Okay, so you've got your Foodicyn, but how do you find the balance? And so, jumping into that, I think my love for food and my love for taste started when I was a young boy. In fact, my mom, I remember, got me a t-shirt that said I kill for chocolate when I was about 8 or 9 or 10, 11 years old or something like that. I don't remember, but I always loved my cereals in the morning and with the milk and the Cocoa Pops and all that kind of stuff. And food for me was always just fun. It was always yummy. I used to sit at the dining room table. I used to just go, and my parents used to say, you're always so happy when you're eating. And that's kind of where my love for food grew. I guess if I fast forward through to my first job, it was at the Richmond Hill Country Club. I was working and living a grand old life there, having use of all the amenities, but at the same time working in the food industry and working as a busboy and getting my teeth wet. I remember the first time I was told to polish the spoons, I laughed because I thought they were joking. I mean, that's how green I was to any sort of food service. But lo and behold, I was there polishing the cutlery, and I stayed there for several years because the lifestyle was exactly where I wanted to be. It was enjoyable, it was fun, and I was enjoying it. Fast forward to my next job, which was Blueberry Hill, flipping burgers at the local place down at Steeles and Hilda area. From there I jumped out of the industry, but very soon jumped back into the industry at the age of 20 at Lime Ricky's. I think those in the Toronto space actually understand the value of Lime Ricky's. It was an icon back in those days, and so I was working there, and again, waking up in the morning and eating the wrong foods and going to work and picking fries off people's plates. And I just remember Gord, the chef, he's like, "You fucking asshole, what you fucking doing? Leave the fucking people's fries alone." He would say that to me, and I have that as a really fond memory of Gord, and peace out to you, Gord. I haven't seen you for years, my brother, but still a dear memory in my heart of those moments. And I continued to live that lifestyle of abundance of food and whatever I wanted: burgers, fries, chicken wings, Lime Ricky's, kitchen sinks, fudge sundaes, cereals in the morning, and probably alcohol and the wrong foods at night as well, once you close up shop and you open up the taps and you start drinking and you start, enjoying. And by the next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's time to go home. And you go home and you wake up at noon and you get ready for work and you go back to work at 4 and you do the thing and so on. And that was my life for many years. With another job in between at Joe Badali's. If anybody remembers the downtown core, I was at Joe Badali's for a number of years. I also jumped into Ferro at St. Clair and Christie, which was a wonderful experience, beautiful food there. In fact, still visit it today. It's amazing. And then probably the place that I learned how to run a restaurant the most was still one of my favorite places today, Grazie, at Young and Eglinton. And they're actually, funnily enough, my ex-bosses are now a part of the Foodicyn program. They have recently come back into life with me and me with them. And because we live the same life and lifestyle, I knew that once we connected again, that they would get the value of Foodicyn. And the three brothers are now a part of the program weekly. And it's changed their lives, completely changed their lives. But that's on a side note. So the point of everything up until that point in my life was my job. So where did my job take me? From A to B, C, D, E, F, G. Sometimes I was bussing, and then I was waitering, then I was bartending, then I was manning the gazebo, then I was, whatever I was doing, I was always involved in that aspect of food. And I don't even want to say nutrition because it so wasn't, but I didn't know that then. And so when I say I ate myself sick and unhealthy, it means that everything that I put into my body had very little value on my system, but yet I was still a strong 20-something-year-old. I was still a sporty enthusiast. I was still somebody who had the energy to kind of get up and go. Moved to when I got married. I quit my job. I started my company called The Decadent Martini. If that name rings a bell to anybody. I was working in many of the synagogues across Toronto. I was working with many of the top caterers in Toronto back at the time. And just before I went to Australia, my icing on the cake was working in Larry Tannenbaum's house with the Raptors and the Leafs and doing my own programs there with them. But the point of that was the next 5 years of my life, 6 years of my life was deep in the catering world. I was no longer in the fast food world. I was now in the catered, so there was even more abundance. Oh my gosh, was there more. There was more choices. There was more appetizers, more main courses, more desserts. And, I'd wake up in the morning. I would go to probably McDonald's. I would have a bacon and egg McMuffin with 2 hash browns, coffee double, and I would get my day going. And then I would go to my events and I would set up and, I wasn't much of a drinker because obviously I was working, but I would eat and I knew all the chefs and all the people working there. So we really connected and my lifestyle was just abundance. I was living the lifestyles of the rich and famous, so to speak, but in a worker's capacity, but loving life nonetheless. Because when I created the Decadent Martini, it was this euphoric space that people would come to for what I wanted, which was the alcohol, the libation, the what's the next fruity martini that you're going to do, Mark? Oh, I was doing the cappuccino martini before anybody even heard of the cappuccino martini. So, I was always kind of ahead of the time in that sense, but also continuously eating myself sick, eating myself unhealthy. But I never knew it. Fast forward, 35 years old, I'm checking off all these diseases. I've got acid reflux. I've got chronic allergies. I've got chronic irritable bowel syndrome. I have skin spots all over me. Not eczema, but fungus spots from sugar. Bad headaches, asthma, back pain. Things like I remember, no matter what I did, I was ruled by my gut. I would run to the bathroom. I would be playing pool with somebody, and I would run to the bathroom, just boom, because I couldn't wait. I had to go. And I would sometimes be there for half an hour, 45 minutes, tears running down because the pain of that wind buildup and the angst of like, where's it coming from, and how did I get here? And oh my God, I'm only doing what is there, and at the same time having learnt the food pyramid and having gone through my George Brown education and being checked on the nutritional scale of how good my meals were, and they gave me like an 80% rating. So I was kind of given like, not 2 thumbs up, I was kind of given like a thumb like that, but at the same time, that's really good. And so where did it all go so wrong? And how did I get so sick? How did I have these issues? How am I the one suffering every day? Are you suffering every day? But I guess you never really ask those questions with people because at that stage you didn't really talk about things. It was still unheard of. I mean, I came from an era of food and fast food and the human experience of going out and dining when there were no allergies, where there was no gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free. They were inventing things like the kids' menu that has spaghetti and grilled cheese and French fries and pasta. I mean, no wonder our next generations are so unhealthy and so unwell. And so when I woke up at 35 and realized that, my God, like I've loved life to the hilt. Like I never denied myself or didn't enjoy anything that I ever put into my mouth. That is for sure. But yeah, when I woke up and I realized that I've got these two young children, I don't want them to end up like me at 35, just like I don't want you to end up like I did when I was 35. Or if you're there now, I'm here to tell you that there's a way to reverse that and just keep following. But when it was that moment, I just realized that I can't trust anybody out there anymore. I can't believe anybody out there anymore because my parents were doing the best by me and it wasn't right. The school system was trying to do the best by me and they weren't right. The government was trying to do the best by me, the food industry was, but everything was wrong. And when I said to Mike earlier on about, I think I did worse, I really, now that I've put it out there of how I used to eat, not to mention my chocolate binges, not to mention my other double coffees in between, with my Dunkin' Donuts and, Tim Horton Timbits, etc. I fast-tracked my dis-ease and my disorder because nothing I ate was ever giving back to my body. It was only giving me and my satisfaction of what I wanted.